What's up, and welcome to the first college basketball guy video, where we'll be looking at the top 5 most underrated teams in college basketball this season. If you guys are interested in this content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below anything else you guys might be interested in seeing, and I'll try to post 2 times a week, 3 maybe. So starting off our list, I have SMU from the ACC. SMU is off to a great start to their first season in the ACC. They're 5-2 in conference play and 14-4 overall. The 2 impact players I see for that team that has really helped them is Boopie Miller and Matt Cross. Boopie Miller is the star guard for SMU, most points on the team, and getting 6 assists a game, which is 22nd in the nation, and only turns it over 2 times, so good turnover ratio, good rebounding. There is Matt Cross. He gets 8 rebounds a game. He's only 6'7", so he's really fighting for the rebounds. And also great from 3, just great overall. I guess the only struggle is from the free throw line, 70%. It's not even that bad. So in their losses, they've lost to Butler, Mississippi State, Duke, and North Carolina. Most of those, I would say overall, they just didn't shoot really well. They do rely heavily on their offense. Besides those games, SMU has been really good in all the statistics pretty much, where they're second best in three-point percentage, most offensive rebounds, most shot attempts, second most steals, second best rebounding margin, and a positive 1 turnover margin in the ACC. And it isn't just the ACC where they are top of the stats. They are 23rd in rebounds per game, 33rd in field goal percentage, 40th in assists per game, 17th in scoring, 21st in three-point percentage. They have just been very good and very efficient. So with all of that offensive power, that has gave them a 40th rating on KenPom, where they are 25th in offensive efficiency and 78th in defensive efficiency. They also play at a very high tempo, which also leads to more possessions for them. And they also just seem to be very good in close game situations. Cal Baptist isn't really good, but they still won by 2. Virginia, they had some really good threes at the end just to come back and win the game. And Cario Oquendo is very helpful in that as well with the three-point percentage. He shoots around 45%, I believe, from 3. So just someone that's very reliable. He's a transfer student from Georgia and Oregon, so has some experience that should help this team. But overall, the area of concern that I could see with this team is that they just are 0-3 against quad 1 teams. They're 35 in the net right now, but got kind of killed by both North Carolina and Duke in their 2 losses in conference play, and has pretty much beat the bottom 4 teams in ACC play. So they really haven't played super difficult teams in the ACC yet. But I believe that they still have a good enough talent, good enough scoring to just outscore everyone. They just killed Miami yesterday, where they shot 56% from 3 and 70% from the field. So I think SMU just has a really good offense that can offset some defensive mistakes that they might have per game. So the next team we have on the list, coming off a big win yesterday, is Vanderbilt from the SEC. Vanderbilt is also one of their best starts. They're 15-3, 3-2 in the SEC, which is the toughest conference so far. And their only losses are to Drake, great team, Mississippi State, ranked, and Missouri away. And this is just a smart team. It's Vanderbilt. They're the smart school of the SEC. They don't turn it over, and they force a lot of turnovers. They are second in the SEC for getting the most steals per game, and 7th in the nation overall. And they don't turn it over much either. They only turn it over 10 times a game, which puts them 30th in the nation of least turnovers per game. And with them not turning it over, they force the most turnovers in the SEC. They average 16 turnovers per game, which is the best in the SEC. And they have the second best turnover margin in the SEC of 6 per game, which is huge. And then that also is putting them 5th in the nation with turnover margin. So overall, this is just a super smart team, coached by Mark Byington, which was the former James Madison coach, which had a good run in the tournament last year. Their top 3 players are Jason Edwards, their leading scorer, averaging 17 a game, AJ Hoggard, veteran player from Michigan State, and Devin McLaughlin, who is the leading rebounder for the team, averaging 8 a game. So in the net rankings, they are ranked 37th, just behind SMU, but they are 2-2 in quad one games, picking up a big one against Tennessee yesterday. And they are 49th in KenPom, where they are 41st in offensive efficiency and 69th in defensive efficiency. So a very balanced team, a very smart team, a team that, as long as they can make it through the SEC play around 500, I could see making March Madness this season. And they get another test on Tuesday where they play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So that will be definitely a tough game, but if Vanderbilt could pull that off, I could see them being ranked pretty soon. So now our third team on the list is the Bradley Braves from the Missouri Valley Conference. They are 16-3 on the season and 7-1, which is first place in the MVC. Their one conference loss was to Drake, and they lost to two WCC teams in Washington State and Santa Clara. This team excels on both offense and defense, especially from the three-point range. In the MVC, they have the second best point differential, which is around 13. Then they have the second best blocks, the second best defensive scoring in the MVC, third best scoring on offense, the best three percentage. They are pretty much one of the top teams in the MVC, pretty much just them and Drake. With their amazing three-point percentage, which is pretty much just above 41%, that puts them first in their conference and second overall in the country, just behind Howard. They also play good defense, holding their opponents to low field goal percentages, both from the field and from three. They are 33rd against the field and 13th with three-point percentage on defense. It has led them to a plus 13% difference on the three-point arc, which is the best in the nation by far. Their top 5 players, all in scoring, all shoot above 35% from three, including 2 bigs. Their 2 bigs are 6'8" and 6'9", and both of them shoot above 35%, which just makes it super hard to guard because the three-point is always going to be an issue. And all of their guards shoot above 40%, with 2 of them shooting above 45%. This puts them at 80th in KenPom, where they are 81st in offensive efficiency and 86th in defensive efficiency. So not super imbalanced, which is, I think, good for a team with their caliber. And they are 65th in the net rankings. They have not played a quad one game. They played Drake at home and lost. And that's pretty much my main question for them, is that can they beat Drake? Because that's pretty much the only other contender, I would say, in the MVC. But last year they lost to them in the semifinals. They can't beat them right now, it seems like. So I think that's probably the main thing that they're looking forward to do. And if they can get into the tournament, they should be a very dangerous team to look out for. Overall, I see Bradley as just their three-point percentage and the ability to play defense on the three as well. Really sets them apart for everyone. And just threes are more than twos, so if you can make more and you can play defense against them well, it often works out, and that's why they're 16-3. And the next team we have is Samford from the SoCon. Samford, the team that gave Kansas all it could do last year, is 15-4 overall and 5-1 right now in conference play. 3 of their 4 losses have been really close. Lost to Cornell by 2. Michigan State held on for most of the game, lost by 8, got killed by Arizona, and then just lost their first conference game against East Tennessee State. They are another high-scoring team. They average 85 points a game, putting them 13th in the nation. 4 blocks a game, which leads their conference. Has a positive 4 turnover margin, which puts them 23rd in the nation. So they get a lot of extra possessions again, which is very important. And the main thing I like about them is that they are able to win close games. I mean, I showed that they just lost 3 close games, but they've played in 10 games under 10 points, and they have won 7 out of 10, which is very good, especially later on in the season when you have those closer games more likely. What I also like about them is that they have a lot of depth and is very spread out around everything. No one's super high in scoring. Nobody out rebounds everyone by a lot. The only person that's pretty different is Rylan Jones, who gets 6 assists a game pretty much, and only 2 turnovers. But other than that, it's a very balanced team where no one's doing too much of something. So the metrics don't really like their defense that much. They are 106th in KenPom, where they are 64th in offensive efficiency, but 220th in defensive efficiency, which is probably the main struggle for them. I've seen in most of their games that have been close, it's always been really high scoring, besides the East Tennessee State game. Also 103rd in net and 0-2 against Quad 1 teams. But I think this team could do really good as long as they can just continue winning their close games. They're not in a super competitive conference. The ability to score is very important, especially later on in the season. And that's why I think Samford could go pretty far and is an underrated team. And our final team, the only team to receive votes in the AP rankings, St. Mary's. They are 16-3 and off to an undefeated start, being 6-0 in the WCC. All of their losses have been really close. They lost by 4 to ASU, 2 to Boise State in overtime, and 7 to Utah State. Marshallonis is their leading scorer, scoring about 14 a game, playing 36 minutes, which is a very high number. They do not turn over the ball that much. They only turn it over 9.9 times a game. The only issue is they don't really force a lot of turnovers. They only force 12.5-ish. So they don't lose the ball, but they don't really take the ball away that much. Right now, they are on a 6-game win streak. They continue that potentially against San Francisco, who is second in the conference, on Thursday, which would be a very important game for St. Mary's. And they have 2 very important bigs, Mitchell Saxon and Roscos, both playing around 28 minutes, getting 8 rebounds each a game, which is very important and good that they don't really foul out that much. And contrary to most of the teams I've chose, this team excels on their defense. They only give up 61 points a game, which is 8th in the nation. They also get the most rebounds in their conference and is 8th in the nation as well in getting the most rebounds, around 41 a game. And on top of that, they have the plus 11 rebound margin, which pushes them in 5th in the nation. So top 10 in defense and rebounding. With Gonzaga struggling, St. Mary's looks like they have an open path to the 1 seed in WCC right now. They haven't played them yet. Those are always good games, but St. Mary's is looking really good right now. And will they be able to continue their streak against San Francisco? In most of their losses, they did not score that well. That's pretty much the main thing, is can they shoot well enough to beat a lot of teams, especially Gonzaga with a high-scoring offense. They are 27th in KenPom, ranking 37th in offensive efficiency, so they are very efficient, helping with those turnovers there, but they just don't score a lot. But they are 26th in defensive efficiency, which is their main thing that they focus on. And finally ending it, they are 28th in the net, so they are in a good spot if they just continue to win to make March Madness. But I could definitely see them being ranked soon, especially if they beat San Francisco this week. So that is it for my top 5 teams. I'd like to give honorable mention to Drake. I just think they're like almost not underrated because I feel like people know about them, but they have been playing really good. And also Michigan State, because I think they're like a top 10 team right now. They just beat Illinois as I was making this, so maybe even top 8. So I think they should be higher up, but they're definitely a little bit more appreciated than most of these teams. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, if you're interested in this content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below what you guys want to see next. Thanks for watching.